As the armies of Kurukshetra prepare for an era-defining war, the gods overlook millions to focus on a single mortal warrior, Karna. Karna carried a biological advantage that defied the rules of mortal combat. He was born with divine armor, known as Kavacha, and golden earrings, called Kundala, which were physically fused to his skin and bone. This diagram illustrates the tactical imbalance. On one side are the combat skills of the rival prince, Arjuna. On the other, the glowing shield of Karna's armor. Because this armor is inseparable, weapons cannot penetrate it, making Arjuna's path to victory impossible. Lord Indra, Arjuna's father, realized physical weapons would fail. To ensure his son's survival, he had to make Karna remove the armor himself. Indra looked for a weakness in Karna's character rather than his defense. He found it in Karna's morning ritual, a daily vow that no person seeking help would ever leave his presence empty-handed. This created a direct collision between Karna's biological survival and his personal honor. To keep his armor was to live. To keep his word was to become vulnerable. At sunrise, Lord Indra descended to the palace court, disguised as a frail Brahmin beggar, timing his arrival to the exact moment Karna finished his prayers. When Karna offered his help, the beggar made a demand that shocked the court. He didn't ask for gold or for plots of land. He asked for the armor and earrings attached to Karna's body. The sun god had already sent Karna a telepathic warning, identifying the beggar as Indra and revealing the request as a plot to leave him defenseless for the coming war. The choice was binary. Path A meant keeping the armor to survive the battlefield while breaking a sacred vow. Path B meant surrendering his protection to keep his word, which meant certain death in combat. Because Karna knew the beggar was a god in disguise, his decision moved past simple charity. He was consciously choosing to trade his physical life for the integrity of his promise. Karna looked at the king of the gods and agreed to the request. He placed the value of his word above his own skin. He took a blade and began the slow, visceral process of cutting the divine metal out of his own chest. Despite the blood and the physical reality of carving away his own flesh, Karna remained silent. He completed the task without showing a single sign of pain or regret. He handed the blood-stained armor and the golden earrings to the beggar. The entire court watched in silence as the warrior stood before them, now completely exposed. Stunned by this level of sacrifice, Indra shed his disguise. He had arrived as a strategist looking for a victory, but he left as a witness to a courage even the gods had not anticipated. As a mark of respect, Indra granted Karna the Vasavi Shakti, a divine weapon that could destroy any enemy, but could only be used once. Indra's plan succeeded in stripping Karna of his physical shield, but it inadvertently granted Karna a moral standing that would outlast the war itself. Karna entered the Kurukshetra war without his divine protection. He fought at a massive disadvantage, relying solely on his skill and his will. On the battlefield, the lack of his armor eventually proved fatal. Fate and the tactical reality caught up to him, and he was killed in battle. This timeline compares two different results. The first is Karna's physical life, which ended at Kurukshetra. The second is his identity as Danveer, extending forward through time. While those empires crumbled, his vulnerability earned him a permanent place in cultural memory. This story shifts the definition of generosity. True giving isn't about sharing a surplus, but about the willingness to let go of the things we rely on for our safety. Karna's legacy suggests that a person's lasting impact is measured not by the defenses they build to protect themselves, but by what they are brave enough to give away.